Remember that they're changing my voice. This video is about my official stance on Palestine, points 29 through 35. Okay, before I get into it, I'd like to say that because they're changing my voice and trying to make it seem like politicians and celebrities and people you come across on the internet who work for corporations, what have you, they're trying to make it seem like they're magically more sincere or that more blessed or something. I mean, you see people acting very immature, and some people have little bumper stickers that say blessed and so on and so forth, and there's all these corporate movements, okay? So I don't have a lot of respect for people who cheat me out of my right to lead, as you can imagine, and people who do things that are wrong, okay? And if they try to make it so that, they try to seem superior to me, it is very despicable, okay? There's no being greater than the top martial artist ever possible. I do Royal African Falcon martial arts, not anything else. There's no one-upping me, and anyone who tries to kind of sabotage me and use technology to try to seem superior, I mean, that is childish. That is low. That is low, 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 low. Okay, makes you wonder what kind of family raised them, what have you. Okay, so I left off on point 29. I said, I am against forced evacuations of hospitals. Hamas is said to be under the hospitals, and though this may be true, it is not an excuse. They need to build them hospitals in Egypt and elsewhere first. Okay, and again, they shouldn't use this opportunity to take more land. Even the politicians have said that. And I start to wonder if that's even their plan, because they're on blast to such a degree. They're on the spotlight to such a degree, and they've been called out for it to such a degree. Okay, point number 30. They argue that a ceasefire for them means death for Israel. They also argue that calls for a ceasefire is a call for Israel to surrender to Hamas. Also, someone pointed out that they are sending the message that ethical resistance does not work, and that people cannot join the State Department unless you promise to not advocate for the boycott of Israel. Obviously, this is violating people's constitutional rights. Just because you work for the government or the military doesn't mean that you should not be able to have an opinion on things. Okay, say we were at war with China and it was extremely heated. Okay, you should be able to say, hey, I think America's right or wrong, because there's more to it than just people dying. I mean, people die all the time. 9 million people starve to death a year of hunger-related and die of hunger-related issues, right? And a lot of it is American policy. You don't see them making it illegal to contribute to the starvation of people around the world. They just simply don't care. So saying that Americans are dying or their family members is not enough, right? Why would an American life be worth more than someone's life, in another country? If anything, it's worth less because of all the horrible things America has done to the underdeveloped nations of the world. So I'm a firm believer of that. If you're from a group of people, a nation, what have you, and you conform to that group and you push that line, and it's causing other groups to suffer unfairly, especially die of starvation, then your lives are worth less than theirs. And I'll debate you at any time about this, because it's clear. I mean, look at the Bible, right? The righteous go to heaven, the wicked go to hell, right? Separate the sheep from the goats, the wheat from the tares. So why on earth should the policy of any nation be any different? Okay, so I think the fact of the matter is, peaceful resistance, it doesn't work, but neither does armed resistance. It's a matter of, do you want to punish your enemy or don't you? And that goes back to my book. I would defer to my book on this issue. Again, if you're outside the divine order, which everyone is, except for me, then God is not on your side if you kill anybody. However, that doesn't mean that God is going to hold it against you. And if you're going to hell anyway, well, there you go. So there's that to consider. So that's a more kind of interesting, complex issue. Now let's go to, and if you have any questions, put in the comments. I don't want to run out of time here. I have not too much space on my phone. Point number 31. Hamas is the puppet of Israel, the West, and other globalists. I do not believe that Hamas is some kind of independent entity that has sovereignty or something, and that they're just collaborating with Iran. Okay, Iran is our puppets. The Iranian government, the Ayatollah, historically, these people were puppets. These people are part of global committees, And as such, they're subjected to the will of the committee. And as an individual, they don't have much power no matter how you slice it, no matter what rank they claim to have. Okay, so it's Hamas, therefore, is just a puppet of Israel, the Western globalists. Okay, point number 32. So again, that's interesting. I think there's a lot of Israelis who'd be mad about it, but there's a lot of Israelis who wouldn't be mad. They know that I'm right. And a lot of them are mad at Netanyahu. And one way or another, there's a thin line between extreme criminal negligence that caused these people to get killed to advance a political agenda or otherwise, or just by accident, and telling Hamas what to do directly, right? It's a thin line between the two. Okay. Point number 32. People have been using propaganda for neo-Roman human trafficking since the collapse of the Roman Empire. This is a key part of the Neo-Babylonian system, especially Babylonian eugenics and controlled breeding. Now, just because I use the word Babylon doesn't mean that it's conspiracy. These are the facts here. Babylon, on record, sort of morphed. Its main cult centers moved to Rome. Okay, Babylonians were first and foremost, as a government, as a nation, there are people who crave power. They weren't going to just become some kind of primitive tribal people, okay, in Iraq and Syria, what have you. They were not going to let that occur. So these people, they rode the wave into Rome and became part of the Roman cult process with the Persians, with the Greeks, with the Romans, the Sabines, you name it. They mixed all together, Ethiopians, and they became Romans, and then from there, Neo-Romans in the modern world, right? The Neo-Roman global system that we have is more accurately stated as a Babylonian system if you really want to get to the heart of the matter. Because Western mythology and religions and cultures, no offense to anyone, I'm part white and I'm born in the West, they're shallow, okay? They don't get to the heart of the matter. Right? So for example, if you compare voodoo in its hardcore African form to kind of Western people with some book in the library, you're going to get quickly the voodoo guy is more deep into it. Now, I don't like voodoo. I don't practice it, but that's the fact of the matter. You can get the Western person, just some kind of shallow person that read about it in a book. Okay, again, no offense to anybody. These are just the facts. This is part of understanding my official stance on the Palestinian Israeli conflict and why point number 32 is sound. So again, people have been using propaganda for neo-Roman human trafficking since the collapse of the Roman Empire, which was famous for its human trafficking. This is a key part of the Neo-Babylonian system, especially Babylonian eugenics and controlled breeding. So, it's clear, right? It's even in their Bible, right? With the Romans who mocked Jesus, okay, in the history, Nero and Julius Caesar and all these narcissists who thought they were important, and some of them are remembered more favorably than others, but all of them were just greedy narcissists. Okay. Point number 33. Israel is guilty of war crimes for killing civilians and not having a strong justification for doing so. If Hamas was under the White House, should they bomb it? Okay, and really ask yourself, where do you draw the line, right? It's like drawing on the Spirit of God, right? Where do you draw the line? If you draw the line in a place that's for white supremacy, Jewish supremacy, LGBT supremacy, or any other ethnocentric, any other racial supremacy, or any other national bootlicking crowd following philosophy, then you're drawing on the devil's spirit. Where you draw the line has everything to do with what spirit you're drawing on in life. Okay. Point number 34. So I'm almost out of time. Let's just wrap this up here. The evidence suggests that the Phoenix program, okay, is very similar to the program that they're using there in Palestine right now. That's what the evidence suggests. Okay, all the kind of indicators are there. They seek to play we have to reinforce the social order card, okay, while they're doing all kinds of horrible things, just like they did in the Phoenix program in Vietnam. That's when they captured political dissidents and anybody they wanted to, and they raped them and abused them, and they tortured them just for sick pleasure, really. And they, kind of going crazy during war, kind of, it's just people are crazy. A lot of times people, the military's attract all kinds of crazies and all kinds of sadistic people and rapists and so on and so forth. And that's what's going on there, is what the evidence suggests, right? The evidence strongly suggests. Well, I'm out of time.